Oh God, where do I start? Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Fire Emblem Fates Conquest version. Since I beat it the other night, that means it's time for a review. Now, this game has dragged me all across the fucking map. I have went from being certain multiple fucking times to saying, when I finish this game and I do my review, I will say it is the worst 3DS game ever fucking made, 0 out of 10. And that Awakening beats it in every conceivable fucking way. Then there'd be points to the game where I would be like, oh, this isn't that bad, or alright, that's not too shabby, stuff like that. So it's going to be really difficult for me to give a review in my usual format of where I just say the cons and the pros, and then it's done. So, and I should say right now, there will be some spoilers in my review, so if you don't want any, stop watching now. Now, I've also been watching a guy on YouTube. You might know him, you might not. His name is Etika, or Etika World Network is his channel. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, but Fire Emblem are always very entertaining to watch. And now he was going to play Birthright, but he switched it up at the last second and went into Conquest, so he does way over-the-top reactions. Oops, I smacked my mic, I apologize. He does way over-the-top reactions, but it's him being him, and it's funny. So it's more entertaining, I find, watching him play than it was for me. Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, which, by the way, I should point out, I played on normal, classic difficulty. So it had permadeath, and it was not lunatic or hard, just normal, which was hard enough. Apparently, normal on Conquest is about the equivalent to hard or lunatic on Birthright. Apparently, Birthright is much easier. But for me, it was brutal, vicious, absolutely asinine a lot of the times. So, I don't even know where to start. I really don't. Let's talk about the characters. On the Conquest side, you got Xander, Leo, Camilla, Elise, Jacob, however you want to pronounce it, which I never used him. Felicia is pretty good. Later on, you got characters named Shura. He was an interesting character. I was like, I really want to kill you, but I could recruit you. And so I recruited him. Turns out he was very, very useful. Now, actually, that's a big problem right off the bat I want to talk about. With Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, the whole thing is embrace the darkness. They made it seem like Nor is the bad guy. However, only King Garen really is the bad guy, and story-wise, you learn originally he wasn't so bad. And then I guess Iago and Hans, of course, were idiotic bad guys as well. But the main characters, the siblings, are actually not bad. I don't like how we were led to believe that Nor is you're choosing the dark side, the bad side, because it seems like no matter what you choose, Birthright or Conquest, Corrin is Corrin, and he stays the same. He wants to end the war and be Mr. Nice Guy, and he doesn't want to hurt anyone. So, throughout the game, in Fire Emblem, it's like, oh, you killed the enemy forces, hooray! And then, but now with Corrin, you don't actually kill anyone, you just beat them. You're like, oh, we've beaten you in a fight, give us your weapon and run away. And it's just like, what a fucking waste. What a freaking waste that was. It really should be, if you embrace the darkness, Corrin becomes a bad guy, a merciless killer who just destroys everybody. But no, Mr. Nice Guy has to come through, the good guys have to win in the end, like always. But as for characters like, Camilla was the main reason I chose Conquest, and it's one of the few reasons, or one of the few things that's better than in Awakening, which is just Camilla's big tits. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Other than that, the characters like Leo is funny. Xander was alright. He's better than Ryoma. Ryoma's just a whiny bitch. Um, but and Takumi, don't even get me started on him. And spoilers, he's at the end of the game waiting for you. Um, but just overall, I don't know. Like the animation cutscenes, like an anime like cutscene, were good. The music, phenomenal. They improved the animation sequence. They gave them feet. All these little details were a huge step up and a very welcome addition. The story itself, to me, was very weak. And the protagonist, Corin, I don't have anything against him, but in comparison to Robin, Robin blows him the fuck away. Robin is the strategist, the tactician, and was actually more of a pivotal thing where he turned fucking evil. He had a dark side. And in this, you don't. Ultimately, the whole war was pointless. So, again, I can't just do these are the cons, these are the pros, and this is my score of the game. It's much more difficult than that. It had its moments, but there was a lot of missteps along the way. There was a few times I wanted to snap my 3DS in half. There was a few times I just ejected the cartridge and chucked it across the room. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, how many units did I lose? 2 is the answer, which was Baruka was one of her names, I think. I forget what she looked like, or what her name was spelled like, or pronounced, or whatever. Something like Baruka, Barunka, something like that. I didn't really care for her. She sucked anyway. And I actually did reset when I lost her, and I was just like, ugh! And then I was like, I shouldn't do this, and then she died anyway. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going through this mission for another third time for wasting an hour. If you're gonna die, you're useless, you suck, you weren't good enough to live anyway. So, she died. And then the other one was, again, I forget her name, but it was the rainbow-haired lady. So, you probably know who that is, you might not. She died, so I had 2 girls who died throughout the whole game, and that was it. The last mission, just called Endgame, that I had a problem with in the sense that you do chapter 27 is the last official mission, and then you immediately go into the mission called Endgame, and there's no save point. So if you fuck up here, you have to do the other mission all over again. I didn't like that. Did not like that at all. And so that took me hour and a half to nearly 2 hours just on the final endgame mission to beat. I was so goddamn slow, meticulous, so tactical that I made sure every possible conceivable fucking action was done delicately. I was just like, okay, this person needs to take out this person. Oh, but then this person would be exposed over here by this fucker and there's constant reinforcements bombarding you. And I swear, I had like 8 panic attacks almost. Like 8 times throughout one match, the one mission at the end, almost gave me a panic attack. I was just like, oh, no, 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 no. When I thought someone was going to die. At one point, Izani or something like that, the monk guy, the archbishop, no, not archbishop, the arch god, whatever his name is, or whatever his title was, he lived with 1 HP because of his miracle ability saving his life, and I almost had a fucking heart attack. But luckily, no one died. So, again, oh, and then there's Azura. We gotta talk about her. How she was basically the mirrored version of Corrin. She was captured from Nor to Hoshido, or brought to Hoshido, while you were taken from Hoshido, brought into Nor. And some people might ask me, why did you choose Conquest? Why wouldn't you choose the family you were brought up within? It's a simple solution, really, or a simple explanation for me, for a few reasons. First and foremost is, if you think about it, you would have no memories of the family you were born from, and you would be born and raised knowing, the North side. To them, or to you, they are your family. Simple as that. Secondly, I always like the bad guy side in things. It's more fun. It's more crazy. Look at Joker and Batman, And then third, just personally, me in real life, I don't have that strong of a bond or a feeling for family in general. I'm kind of like, fuck, just whatever, leave me alone, let me do my thing. So yeah, it was not a hard choice to make Nor. Right off the bat, I was just like, when it gives you the splitting paths and you choose, I'm just like, boop, boop, done. No hesitation at all. And, so, Yeah. So where does Fire Emblem Fates Conquest fall ultimately? Ultimately, I can't say it beats Awakening. I just can't. The characters like Robin and what was their name? Chrome, Frederick. I don't know. I just liked a lot of the characters in Fire Emblem Awakening infinitely more. At least compared to the Hoshido side. I still haven't played the Hoshido version, so there could be a surprise character in there that I might like. But Corrin, you're just not as good as Robin. And again, the animations was better. The music was great, fantastic animations in the cutscenes and all that. But it just falls short for me personally to say that it beats Awakening. Um, I can't remember if I did a review for Awakening anyway. Maybe I did, because that would have been what 2, 3 years ago now. But in the end, what do I give Fire Emblem Fates Conquest? Um, oh, and I should also say before I forget, with Azura, that I started to say, I heard a spoiler, which I thought was a spoiler, which it wasn't. Someone had said in a comment, just like, "Oh, Azura dies in the end," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, asshole." But the truth is, no, she doesn't. I mean, if you actually get her killed off, then she would die. But I had her throughout to the end of the game. She didn't die. She almost did. She had like 3 HP left. But she just kind of disappears. Just poof. You save the world. You ended the war, or you ended the war, and she's just gone. And then she shows up in a little cutscene where Corrin thinks he's hallucinating, and then she's gone again, saying, "Yeah, we'll meet again someday." And it was just kind of weird. But back to wrapping this up with my score. Oh, and again, I keep thinking of things I keep forgetting to mention. There was about maybe a half a dozen missions. There was 27 missions in Conquest. I don't know if it's the exact same in Hoshido or in Birthright, and same with Revelation. I would say there was about half a dozen of them, just 6 missions that stand out that were the absolute most bullshit, nightmarish missions in the game. The other ones were hard because in the Nor version it is harder. They don't give you you can't grind unless you do the XP DLC mission, the Boo something, Boo Camp, that's what it's called. And even that, you have to be careful. Which, by the way, if you play DLC missions, if you lose a character there, they're dead for sure, for good. So just make sure you know that. So yeah, you can't grind, which gives you a disadvantage in the Nor version, which is already harder. And then the other thing was, gold. Again, unless you do the DLC mission to get some gold, they give you next to nothing. Every maybe 5 missions, maybe you can kill an enemy that'll drop 5,000 gold, or every once in a while Lilith, which is another character I forgot to talk about. She turns into a dragon. She's your buddy, but then she dies in the story, and that was sad. I was kind of disappointed to see that. I don't know what's the point of ranking her up in your My Castle by more than she's on my games 76, 77, but she doesn't get any more stat boosts. It's just every once in a while she'll give me a gold bar worth 300 gold. Kind of pointless. And I didn't talk about My Castle. I suppose I should do that too. And I lost my train of thought with when I brought up Lilith. Oh, because of the gold. So yeah, you hardly ever get gold, so you can hardly ever buy new staves and new weapons. So that adds a lot to the challenge. But yeah, My Castle, I didn't know what to think of it at first. I was not against it, but I wasn't jumping for joy. And so in the end, I'm neutral on it. I haven't done any of the online conquesting battle things where you fight other people's castles. Yeah. Well, I suppose I should also mention who I partnered up my characters with. Not all of them did I marry yet. There was, for my character Core, and it was with Camilla, just the big tits. I couldn't, you couldn't go any other way. Xander was an interesting one. I partnered him up with Mozu, which I think is a Conquest-only character. It's basically the Donnie, but it's a female version, from Awakening, who's weak as crap at the beginning, but then turns out to be a beast. And she single-handedly almost helped me get through the final endgame mission, because she has a very high critical hit chance. It's 27 to 29 or something like that percent crit rate. And I turned her into a sniper, so she was just bam, 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 bam. And she had really good defense as well. Other than that, who else did I partner up with? Um, there was someone else. Kaze. No, not Kaze. Who the fuck was it? I can't remember. Oh, and Shura, for some reason, I was complaining because he can't be partnered up with anyone, which was kind of bullshit. He is another good character with a high critical hit rate. It's like 32%, and he's a bow and arrow guy. I played a few DLC missions. So Kana is Corin and Camilla's daughter. She's alright. Xander with Mozu, their kid is Siegbert? Weird name. He seems eh. And Leo and Nyx, who is basically the Tharja of this game in Conquest, the sorcerer, dark sorcerer female lady. And I figured, they're both magicians, or sorcerers or whatever, magic users, so they work well. And their kid is Forrest, which is weird. He is weird because he is his son, but when I first saw him, I haven't even beat the prologue mission to get him yet because it's fucking hard. His kid is his name is Forrest, which is a weird name. It's a son, but it looks like a girl, and it's like a fashionista. Like the kid is wearing like a French bonnet and like has long hair, and you're just like, wait, what is going on? Even Elisa, Leo's sister, is like, who is this girl or whatever? And he's like, I'm not a girl, I'm Forrest. And then she's like, what? You're Leo's son? And it was weird, completely out of left field. But those are the only ones I partnered up with. I could have partnered up Effie, who is the Kellum, basically the general, the tank with spears in this game. I could have partnered her up with Arthur, seems like King Arthur, but I was kind of like, I never really used Arthur because he just was meh. But he's almost like that con guy. Basillo was his name in Awakening in this game. But again, I'm rambling on, and there's so much to talk about. Let's wrap this up. So, in the end, Fates, I'm not going to end up saying what I wanted to so many times where it's like, oh, worst 3DS game, Shovelware is better than it, 0 out of 10. But I'm not going to say it's better than Awakening. I can't. I just can't. I can't remember what I would give Awakening as a score. So all I can do for now is give a score to Fates, Conquest, and of course I'll do a review of Birthright after I've beaten that, and eventually of Revelation. But for now, I'm going to give Fates, Conquest... Let me think for a second here. Out of a 10, I'm going to give it a 6. A solid 6. So it's playable, it has its moments, but there's a lot of problems every now and again, and you can't, at least for me, I can't overlook them. So, 6 out of 10, Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. And don't be one of those people who says, you didn't like it because of the challenge. No, I'm fine with there being a normal challenge. But I didn't pick Lunatic, and there's still a lot of bullshit where you're just like, wow, they really just want you to lose characters. But luckily I only lost 2 that were ones I really didn't care for. But anyway, that'll do it for this review of Fire Emblem Fates Conquest version. We'll see you in the next video. When will that be? Probably won't be too long. Remember, OBA Games will be getting some videos again very shortly. We will see you in the next video. Oh, actually, before I wrap this up, I just realized I completely forgot about 3 characters. Keaton, who's like a werewolf guy, who's kind of like, what's her face? The creature transformer thing, girl thing from Awakening. Keaton, he was a tank. If you have Conquest, use him. He's a beast. His defense is insane, and he can do double attacks, and he just rips most people to shreds. Then I forgot to talk about Gunter. He's on Conquest. He's like he's like Frederick. He starts off as like the OP guy originally, but then he becomes kind of useless. And he is... I felt really bad at the beginning when he dies, quote, dies, when he gets betrayed by Hans, falls through the bridge, and I was like, really, I liked Gunter, that fucking idiot, now he's gone. But luckily, later on, he comes back. because, well, I won't spoil the story, but he's not dead. And then who was the other one? There was one other character. Oh, Kaze was the other one. One of the two ninja brothers. Originally, he's from Hoshido. I guess both the ninja brothers, him and Saizo, are. And in Conquest, Saizo, or not Saizo, Kaze joins me, or you, and Kaze is really pretty cool. One of my favorite characters, I must say. So, yeah. I think Saizo would probably be the choice that would stick with you if you chose Birthright. Could be wrong, but more than likely that's how it is. And since these three characters, I forgot about them, you know what? I'm actually going to buff up my score of Fire Emblem Fates Conquest by zero point 0.5, so I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Anyway, now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.